What is up, people? Van from the Vaniverse Gaming Channel here, bringing you another video. We're going to address the elephant in the room, and that is the purchase of Funcom by Tencent. For all of you that don't know, Tencent already owns 20% of Funcom, and they put through a bid to own the other 80% and be sole owner of Funcom. That's going to go through on March 16th of 2020. I don't see any reason why it won't. So after March 16th of 2020, Tencent will own 100% of Funcom. Now, a lot of people are posting in comments that Tencent owning Funcom is the end of Conan Exiles. It's going to go free to play. It's pay to win. It's going to be censored, etc., etc. And I wanted to do some research and give you guys my opinion based on more fact and more of articles I've read than just to state that and not have any reason why. So hopefully you guys stick through this video and hear about all the information of Funcom and then why I think Tencent wants to buy Funcom and why I think Funcom actually wants to sell their entire company to Tencent. Now, I know that a lot of you are going to have an opinion on this. Please put them in the comments below and try and keep them as cordial as possible. I pretty much respond to every comment, and I don't mind negative comments on my channel as long as they're not out of control and need to be removed. Also, most people are probably going to want to say, hey, oh God, this video is about Tencent, and they're going to thumbs down the video. I ask that you listen to the video, you watch it, and if you don't like what I say or you don't like the video production, give it a thumbs down, fine. But don't just thumbs down it just because it's about Tencent buying Funcom. Okay, now with all that said, before we get started, I want to talk about the history of Funcom and why somebody would want to sell off their entire company to a Chinese company like Tencent. And if you look at the history of Funcom, at their heyday, they had like 680 people. And they released Age of Conan, and it did not do nearly as well as they thought. In Q4 of 2008, they actually lost $23 million because they did not account for how unsuccessful Age of Conan was going to be, and that was due to a terrible release and people, once they're getting their hands on the game, realizing it was broken, and other people just stopped buying the game. And then again, they had to reduce some staff in 2009, and then again in 2012, when Secret World at the time released, they basically did not go well. Again, another release where people didn't like the game, it had its issues, and so they actually cut their workforce by about 50% in 2012. Then in 2014, they got fined with something to do with Secret World Legend and some legal battle over some of the stuff they used in Secret World Legend, and they actually had to settle out of court by paying some fines on that. So now you fast forward to 2015, they are losing staff, they are not making any money, and so they take the money they have and they buy the rights to Conan so that they can make Conan the Barbarian video games, and they want to do a survival video game, which was a really big thing in 2015. So fast forward to 2017, they rebrand the company, and now the branding of the company is of Conan's face, and on top of that, they basically have reduced their staff down to about 120 people at this point. So they announce Conan Exiles, they start opening it up for early access, and people just start buying. And within 28 days of selling early access pre-orders for Conan Exiles, they made more money in 28 days than they thought they would make for the entire year that they budgeted. So they've already said it many, many times in other streams that Conan Exiles literally breathed life back into Funcom. They were going to be done, and then Conan Exiles saved them. So now you look ahead and you're like, okay, Conan Exiles saved them, but as you watch Conan Exiles, after early access release, people stopped playing because of the bugs. Then they released official release in May. They got a huge upswing of people, sold a bunch of copies. Then people started to leave again. And then every so often, they put out a big expansion. And then they put out another expansion, but they're not making the money that they were making before. They sold Mutant Year Zero, which did okay. They had a game called Moons of Madness, which did okay. They had Conan Unconquered, which did not very good. And so they really have not found that big hitter like they did with Conan Exiles. So as a whole, their bread and butter game is not making them near the money that they need to make to continue operating as a studio. That's 100% my opinion. So come along, Tencent, who say, hey, I want to buy out your company, and you will be owned by Tencent. For a company like that, that is a huge deal for them, because now think of the money that Tencent has that they can get as a developer that they couldn't have gotten before. And so that is one of the reasons why I think Funcom wanted to sell their company to Tencent, is because now they're working on a new project for Dune, where they bought the rights from Legendary to make a Dune game, and the movie's coming out, which is going to get huge publicity for the game when it finally releases. And on top of that, their budget is like $50 million for Dune. They would have never been able to do that if they aren't going to get the income from Tencent. 100% my opinion, but that's what I think. So now we know the history of Funcom and why they want to sell the company. Now we got to understand who Tencent is and why people think they're bad. So Tencent is a huge Chinese company. They own pretty much something and everything. Music, games, TV, movies, comic books, all of that. And what people are worried about is that Tencent is going to censor Conan Exiles because it's a Chinese company. And where they're getting this information from is for games like World of Warcraft, which is a 5%, I think Tencent owns 5% of World of Warcraft. But when they started designing their new character models, they designed them so that they met the censorship of China. So what they're trying to say is the game itself, as it currently stands, China is not going to change your current game. If you're in China, it's going to be censored. But if you're outside of China, the game that you play today is not going to have censorship. However, if there's new content that comes to the game, there is a good chance that the content is going to be made for China and everywhere else, so the censorship is going to come pre-built in the game. Could that happen? Maybe, because it would save a lot of money to just make it for all countries right out of the gate versus having a separate build for China versus the rest of the world. However, Conan Exiles is already kind of set up that way, where you can choose to have full nudity, no nudity, partial nudity, etc. So I feel like it's already built in with that censorship, and I don't think that's really going to affect the game. They'll just put clothes on all the creatures and stuff going forward. That's just my opinion. Now, the other reason why people don't like Tencent is because they're afraid it's going to take Conan Exiles free to play. If you look at every game that Tencent is a majority or has a large ownership in, Riot Games, League of Legends, free to play. They own 100% of that. Rings of Elysium, they own 100% of that game, free to play. Fortnite, they only own 40% of that, but again, free to play. Path of Exiles, they own 80% of that, free to play. Supercell, which owns Clash of Clans, which is a super popular mobile game, free to play, cash shop. And so because of that, people are worried that if they get bought out, they're going to basically make Conan Exiles free to play. However, you have to look at the other reasons why Funcom looks good to Tencent. You own the Conan Exiles IP, the Conan Barbarian IP. You can make Conan games. Also, this market is untapped. Conan Exiles was a huge success when it first released in all the other countries. So why wouldn't that be a huge success in Asia? Secondly, Tencent owns their own Steam-type platform called Wii Games. So they're looking for games to put onto Wii Games so that people can use that platform. And they're looking for PC standalone games that you can purchase and download like Conan Exiles. And so with all of that being said, you still have to consider the Dune IP. Dune is they bought the rights from Legendary. I think Legendary Studios is who own the rights to the Dune, and they gave it to to Funcom in order to make a Dune video game based on the movie that's actually going to be coming out here soon. So now Tencent gets to own the rights to Dune as well as Conan Exiles and Conan. So to me, with all of that being said, it's a no-brainer to buy Funcom, especially in the status that Funcom's in. If you listen to their Q4 2019 report that they just did, it says that they are still going to own all of the operational daily tasks for Conan Exiles and Funcom. That even though Tencent owns them, they are going to have full autonomy to do the game how they want, but now they're going to be able to do it with a bigger budget. So they're going to be able to maybe fix some of the things that they haven't had the people or the budget to do in the past, and you can already start seeing things changing with the game. Now with more income coming in from being owned by Tencent, I really think that this is actually a positive for Conan Exiles going forward and not the end of the world, the sky is falling that people are saying with this buyout. So that is my opinion. Hopefully you guys stuck around this whole time to hear this. I'd love to hear you guys' opinions in the comments below, and hopefully we will get some more answers on the Conan buyout and the Funcom buyout here on the 16th of March. This is Van for the Vaniverse Gaming. Thank you for watching. Cheers and peace out.